Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into the Smart City Kitchens mini Webby series. We want to bring those Webby series to you to share some of our insights on the delivery market, why we entered this space of cloud kitchens, and some of the insights we've learned that can potentially help you in your delivery business. So I'm Irene. I'm the general manager of Smart City Kitchens in Singapore. I come from F&B space. I was previously with Restaurant Brands International, covering the Popeyes brand in Asia Pac. And before that, I was looking after Tim Hortons and Burger King expansion in Asia Pac. So the first question would be, how many of you are currently using at least one delivery platform to grow your business? I bet you if you've tuned into this Webby series, means that you definitely are on delivery and you're curious about what's going on. My second question would be, how many of you order food delivery at least once a month? And I'm assuming it's at least a few of you should be saying yes, just because we're seeing that the delivery market is growing quite a bit. I personally, my husband and I tend to order delivery quite a bit. Actually, maybe more than 50% of our orders come from delivery, generally because, in Singapore, we're seeing that there's quite a bit of young professionals. They don't have necessarily the time to cook. They don't have necessarily the kitchens to cook. And sometimes it's even more expensive to buy the ingredients, spend that time, create the food, the wastage that you're gonna have, than just ordering delivery, especially the variety that's being offered at the moment. We're seeing the delivery market is growing quite significantly, right? If we see like 2013, right, not long ago, where basically we were doing 30,000 delivery orders per month. And then we look at last year, 2019, even before the pandemic where we were, it was at 2.8 million. And we expect that within a few years in 2025, that's going to be at 11.4 million. So really over a span of less than 10 years, we're seeing a growth of 380 times, which is just phenomenal. And why is that? Or what does that give overall to the market? Number one is, or the trends, the consumers want more convenience, right? That's why they're ordering more in delivery. But we're seeing that the restaurants are not necessarily ready for this, right? If you look at during circuit breaker, right, all of a sudden all restaurants had to adapt and start delivering online, right? Not everybody was ready for it. Not everybody had the packaging, had the flow of the restaurant, because it's not the same when you're doing a restaurant dine-in versus delivery. The operations flow is not the same. We're seeing quite a bit of third-party deliveries. We have the three main ones within Singapore, but there's quite a few popping up, and they want variety on their platforms, and that's what they're competing on. And then lastly, we're seeing that delivery riders, they want more efficiency. The way they get paid is more orders per hour. So if they can come in and out of the restaurant and save on that time, it's much better for them. So they will prefer a restaurant like that. Where we are right now, right? We're talking about Singapore, like last year, I said quite a few million orders a month, right? So we think at the moment, or people in Singapore, we were like, okay, wow, their delivery is really taking over. But if we compare to other developed cities within Asia, like Seoul or Shanghai, we're really behind, right? Today, basically 0.6% of the meals, and this is pre-pandemic levels, were going on delivery. Whereas in Seoul, again, pre-pandemic levels, that was 2%, or Shanghai 4%. So, even to get to Seoul, basically we're saying they're doing 3 times more orders on delivery than in Singapore. So quite a bit of growth for us as we get more and more comfortable with delivery orders. The other trend that we're seeing is that most of the orders are coming from people that are under 30 years old. And as these people get more comfortable with delivery, and as we have more of a younger generation coming in, we're going to see that food delivery is going to just grow tremendously. So we talked about pre-COVID levels. Obviously, this is no surprise to anybody, but COVID really accelerated this growth in delivery. We saw that Foodpanda said that they were growing week on week 5% in March versus Feb. We saw GrabFood grew 20% in March, and this was before circuit breaker. Obviously, during circuit breaker, April, May, June, we saw delivery orders soaring because people couldn't go dine out. Now, post circuit breaker, we're seeing that delivery orders have gone down, of course, compared to circuit breaker, but they are higher than we saw pre-pandemic or pre-circuit breaker time, just because before people got comfortable with ordering delivery, they got used to the variety they were getting. They liked some of the restaurants that were around their area, and they continue ordering from these guys. Plus, of course, the fact that within dine-in, we still have some limitations. If you want to get a gathering of at least like you want to order people, have people over to get a bigger group, then delivery is the way to go. So one thing we're seeing in Singapore is that restaurants are not making a lot of money. I'm sure if you're a restaurateur, you know, I'm not saying anything surprising to you. The main thing is because, you know, if you're in a mall, likely your rent is quite high and it's continuously increasing. You have high capex. We're looking at an inline restaurant within a mall, $300,000-$400,000 in capex that you have to put because you have to do the M&E, right? The mechanical, electrical. You have to do the AC, the exhaust, etc. You have to do the tiling of the kitchen. You have to do the decoration. You have to get the furniture, all that, and plus the equipment. You have high labor costs. First of all, we have a huge shortage of labor at the moment in Singapore, but on top of that, the labor is quite expensive. Especially for restaurants when we have very small margins. I tackled the rent, and then there's also high utilities. So overall, like this, we're seeing that it's either if you're a good restaurant, your margin at the teens, but mostly restaurants are below 10% margins. And we're seeing that the food as a business, right, the industry is getting more and more technologically advanced or being digitalized. It's one of the industries that has been the digitalized the least, I would say. And right now we are at the process of getting the digitalized, right? We're seeing that there's an increased demand of convenience, right? The technology that with technology, we're optimizing productivity and we're future proofing our business, right? Instead of you want to diversify, you don't want to have it fully on dine-in, you don't want to have it maybe fully on delivery, you want to have some diversification of your business. So where we are in the adoption cycle right now is that we're more like people have adopted delivery, right? The market has taken off. There is some significant share. Right now, we're more on the optimization stage. And optimization, I mean optimization of labor, of real estate, of capital. And I'm going to tackle some of these points in my later slides. The first one is optimization of customer experience, right? We saw the delivery growing, but now we're making that shift where, you know, where we're changing our process flows to adapt to this change. So if you look at the left-hand side, the pictures, right? There is quite a bit of Grab drivers waiting to get their orders. They are at this restaurant. As I mentioned, they get paid by order per hour. So if the order is not ready, they're going to be at the counter questioning the employee, saying, where's my order? You know, and if there's quite a bit of orders coming into the restaurant, they are going to have an issue. So between do I make the order or do I go talk to the Grab drivers, get them to calm down while I make the orders? So that's one issue. So for employees, but also for the customers, right? If a customer walks into this restaurant right now and they want to go to the counter to order, really, how will they go? How will they do that, right? Will they push around the Grab drivers and say, "Hey, I'm here to order"? Likely not. They will look around. They will leave. So within Smart City Kitchens, what we've done is we've really removed this between the experience between the riders and the customers, right? First of all, for delivery, customers order online, right? So at the comfort of their homes or their workplace, and what we do is the riders come to the counter to where you're seeing here on the left hand side, the Food Panda rider sitting there waiting for their order, looking at the screen to see when the monitor will tell him that his order is ready. They will open up a locker and pick it up and leave. So really frictionless for delivery rider, but it's also frictionless for the guests. So within Smart City Kitchens, we have two locations that have some kind of a waiting area, dining area. So even in that location, in those locations, the guests don't really interact with the riders. There's a specific space for each of these guys. There's also optimization of delivery platforms and overall doing more orders in less time. So if you look at the current situation, this again on the left-hand side, the grays, they show the restaurants. They're scattered all over the place, and the greens are riders. They're also scattered all over the place. So if a rider wants to do multiple orders from a restaurant, they will have to go to multiple restaurants, pick up their orders and leave. Whereas with our future landscape, we're putting multiple restaurants, like 20, 30 restaurants in one place, so that the riders, as they come in, they can pick up multiple orders. I saw, actually, I was in our facility today, I saw a rider picking up an order from two different restaurants and then delivering it. I don't know if they're going to deliver to the same location, to the same client, but at least from a picking up perspective, it was very easy for them to do that kind of order batching. So I talked about the driver experience as well, right? For example, if you're in a mall, let's say you're on the fourth floor of a mall, right? The rider has to go in first of all, hope that there is no parking. There is parking. First of all, there's dedicated parking, or hope that the parking is not paid. Go in, going to the mall where of course they're going to be temperature checked, etc. Hope that there's no line to get into the mall, and then once they get into the mall, they will have to go to the fourth floor escalator up and down, and then find the location. We're talking about at least 5 minutes, and I'm being super nice here, right? Whereas in a location like ours, there's dedicated parking, dedicated entrance. There's a seating area for them to get comfortable. There's a bathroom. It's AC. It's air conditioned, so it's comfortable for them. We give them water, of course, all for free, and they really reduce their pickup time. So overall, we're really making the riders' experience better. I talked a little bit about this as well, employee experience in the first photo where, employees are harassed by potentially a rider or a client who is waiting for their order, right? And that's why we try to, or we don't try, but we definitely do split up the call, the experience for the riders and the guests, but also in our kitchens, your employees don't get to interact with the riders directly. So we have runners that will pick up the order from your kitchen, bring it down to the processing center, bring it over to the processing center and put it in the locker. The driver will then open the locker and pick up their orders. If they do have a questions, the question will come to us. One of our runners, our facility supervisor will answer that question. So your employee will not get kind of bothered by a customer or even a rider that's waiting for their order. And I'd say more than bothered, I would say also we want your cooks, your chefs to focus on the cooking and not do any of the other things that, from employee, customer management, driver management. There's too many things that just take away from the core business and it's distracting. So we want your team to just focus on the cooking itself. So optimization of real estate, obviously, this is something that's also dear to our hearts as in Singapore, where real estate is quite expensive. So instead of having dedicated front of the house, large dine-in space that you have to pay for, and of course pay the air conditioning and all that, you get a smaller kitchen with you don't need a dishwasher, you don't need a mop sink, all that. You have shared dry storage or storage overall, and you're reducing your size of a restaurant from 200 square meters to about 30 square meters. Of course, with a smaller kitchen comes also a less number of people. So, and this is definitely a big win for Singapore, as there is a labor shortage and labor is quite expensive. So all you need is really your cooks, your core chefs that are going to create the brands. Within those space, I also would say that there's optimization of sales. So one trend that's being really growing significantly is virtual brands. So within those spaces, you can also add multiple brands, secondary brands, that are all delivery brands. The customer will not know where the order is coming from, but and you are getting, you can do, I don't know, a Mexican brand in the same place as you do a chicken brand, and you can increase your sales. So I'll go through how do we choose where to go, right? So we talked about the trends, but then where are our locations and how do we choose them? We have a data science team that looks at, if we go to the next slide, that looks at where are the people, where's the penetration, where's the density, what's their income, what's the household size. And we've identified a few strong locations. So you'll see the east side, Tampines area, of course, the north side around Woodland, Sembawang area. You'll see around the Clementi area, north of Clementi, Holland Village, Orchard area. And this population, this one doesn't show necessarily the CBD because that's it's mostly expat focused, but quite a strong household income in CBD as well. So based on those, we have pinpointed a few locations that are the smart city locations. If we go to the next slide. So this is also a way of looking at it. Maybe we can go also to the next slide that will depict this. So what we look at is we also look at the online delivery demand. So again, if we look at, where is the reds are, where is the strong demand. So again, Tampines shows up. That's one of our facilities. Sengkang shows up. At the moment, we don't have a location there, but the Sembawang Woodlands area Yishun shows up. We do have a location there. Clementi is one that shows up. We have a location there. And then, CBD, if you look at the delivery restaurants, and Orchard, very strong delivery restaurants there. So one area, so these are the few areas, the 5 areas that we think that are quite significant order demand, quite significant density of population, and that's why we've chosen the locations. So again, thank you very much for tuning in to the first of our mini series. I hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be more content to come, so please stay tuned. Of course, if you have any questions, reach out to us at sales@smartcitykitchens.com, and somebody from our team will be there to help you. Thank you.